So you know this is a hyperbola, not an ellipse, because it has a minus, right? So this, I call it the center, but it's really not the center. I guess they call it center still. So the center is where? Yeah, negative 3, 5. Make sure you get them right. The x goes with the x and the y goes with the y. So that's the center. So let's just start graphing that from there. Whoa. So left 3, up 5. So remember with the hyperbola, we do the same thing as we kind of did with the ellipse, but instead of connecting our dots, we make a little square rectangle. So on the y, we go how far above and below? 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. And then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now to the right we go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's label those coordinates. So this one is negative 3, negative 2. So 5, and then we went up 7, so that's 12. So that's negative 3, 12. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over is positive 2. It's still on 5. 5 to the left of that makes it negative 8. Positive or negative. That's not negative 2. Negative 8, negative 5. It is positive 5. So with these, some of your problems, I give you these coordinates, and you have to be able to go backwards from this and find the center. So realize the center is the midpoint of either way of these. Like if you were to go negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6, divide that by 2 would give you negative 3. Then the y value is still 5. Or on this one, if you add the 12 and the negative 2, you get 10. And half of 10 is 5. So anyways, you can go backwards from having one of these set of pairs. So now we draw a rectangle. And we draw our diagonal lines on that. We connect our vertices. And then look at your notes. If the y is positive, which way does it open? Up and down or side to side? The Y is positive, it is up and down. And so then you draw your little parabola looking things, but since there's two of them, it's a hyperbola. So
those diagonal lines, does it just get really close to it?
Correct. So they are asymptotes. Yeah. So let's see what we were supposed to do on that problem. We were supposed to identify the center, identify the vertices, write equation for the asymptotes, graph the hyperbola, identify the foci. So we haven't done C and D yet. We haven't written equations for the asymptotes, and we haven't found the focus yet. So do you remember for the foci, what is it? For the C squared?
Where's the A squared?
So this one's A squared plus B squared. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 49 plus 25 is 74. So C equals the square root of 74, which is smaller than 8, but bigger than 7. No, bigger than 8, smaller than 9. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's going to be in here somewhere. So the foci is going to be in here somewhere. That's that negative 312. And this foci is going to be in here somewhere. What's going to be the x value of our foci? Negative 3, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go from the center, which is 5, and we're going to add the square root of 74. And down below, we're going to go from the center y value and minus the square root of 74. So that's how we get the foci.
So if it was sideways, though, you could add C to the X, right?
Correct. So since it's up and down, you add the C to the Y. If it's sideways, you add the C to the X. So okay, so now on these, what's the easy way to get the slope on this? On these asymptotes? How far up did we go from the center? Went up 7 and we went to the right 5. So that's the slope. So we're going to have two different lines, right? One's going to have a positive slope and one's going to have a negative slope. It's just rise over run. There is a formula that the book gives you. You could calculate it, but here's the formula. Y minus K equals plus or minus A over B x minus H. That's for the one that opens side up and down, I mean. The one that opens on the other way, the A and the B are flipped. So this is for the one that opens up and down. For the one that opens sideways, it's B over A. So I just remember to go rise over run, and then you don't have to worry about which one's A, which one's B. So that's how I do that one. But anyways, H and K is the what? The center, right? So if I plug this in, x minus h. H was the center, and it's the h always goes with the x. And over here we had the y minus k, which would be the 5. So that would be y plus 5 right here, right? Because it's minus a minus. If I move it to the other side, it would become a minus 5 over here. So that's the equation of my line. Of my asymptotes. I'm not as worried about the equation of the asymptotes, but that's how you find it. I haven't seen that on the final. Now watch it be there this year. But so when you're making your 3x5 card on this, like each chapter, like page 655, each section has a little purple note thing on there. Those are really good to have for your 3x5 card. Yeah, that would be x plus 3 because it's minus a minus. So make sure you do that. So on this one, you're supposed to figure out what this is. So on the test, it just shows up. Tell me what kind of conic section it is, identify the vertex, and graph it, I believe is what it says. So the easiest way is to look at these first two that are squared and the sign between them. So if those are both the same number, like if they would have both been 100, then I would have known it's a circle. And that has a plus. So as long as it has a plus between them, you know it's either going to be an ellipse or a circle. Okay. So if it's a minus between them, it's a hyperbola. And if they aren't both squared, then it's the parabola. So if they're both squared, then it's a hyperbola, a circle, or an ellipse. If it has a minus between them, it's a hyperbola. And if these numbers aren't the same, it's the ellipse. So anyways, that's how you tell what they are. So I know this is the ellipse. We're going to put the x's together, put the y's together. Is this starting to look familiar? And we're going to move the 925 over to the other side. We did this with circles, but it's been a while. So I'm hoping that this kind of comes back a little bit. So I'm going to take out the 36 from each of these x terms. I hope 180 is divided by 36, divisible by 36. So 180 divided by 36. So 180 divided by 36 is 5. So that's 5. And we leave the space. So this is completing the square. And then 100 and 800 are each divisible by 100. So now we take half of 5, which is 2.5 or 5 halves, and then we square that number, right? So squaring it becomes 25 fourths. And I know that's weird, but I'm going to write 25 fourths inside of here at the same time, because you can add 0 to a problem without changing it. So that's in essence what we're doing, is really adding 0 to the problem. But then remember, this stuff factors. Same with this stuff. So half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to add 16 and minus 16. was trying to decide if I should jump one step, but I'll try not to jump steps. So now inside of here, remember this stuff in green, it factors to be x minus 5/2 squared, and we have minus 25/4 still there. And then on the y's, we have the 100, and the stuff in green factors to be y plus 4 squared, and we still have the minus 16 in there. So now I'm going to distribute the 36 into this one, so it's going to be 36 x minus 5/2 squared. So that's the 36 to the first term, and then 36 times this. So I can go 36 divided by 4 first is 9, and then times that by 25 makes 225. So I distributed the 36. On the other one, I need to distribute the 100. So that's going to be 100 times y plus 4 squared minus 160. So that's the 100 distributed to both of those pieces. Equals negative 925. We're getting closer. But then you're still supposed to identify all the vertices and center, and yeah. So I add 225 because I want to get all my plane numbers to the other side, and I add 160 over. Yeah, it is 1600. Which is really good because otherwise I was going to leave it in negative 925, which would have been bad. So now I have 36x minus 5/2 squared plus 100 y plus 4 squared. And then I have 925 negative plus 1600 plus 225, right? Oh, too many. And that makes 900. So in order for this to be our conic section, we need this to equal 1. So I divide it by 900. So I know 36 and 900 are each divisible by 9. Probably 900 is divided. If I go 900 divided by 36, I think that'll work. So that's 25. So this becomes x minus 5/2 squared over 25. 100 and 900, that reduces to be 1/9. So plus y plus 4 squared 9 equals 1. So now it's set up in the standard form.
Wow.
And from there we can calculate the center is going to be 5/2 negative 4. And we can draw it and get all of those points. Probably didn't leave enough room. So 5/2, that's 2.5, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now in the x direction we have to go 5 because the square root of 25. So 5 halves, that's 7 halves. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 halves. So 7.5 and 4. And I'm supposed to go this way, 5. So that's going to be -2.5. So -5 halves and -4. And in the y direction, we're going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3. So that point is 5 halves and -1. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 5 halves and -7. Then we have c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So 25 minus 9 is 16. So c equals 4. So I'd go 4. So that's going to be 6.5, -4, and then 1.5, -4. So that's the foci, the vertices, the center, the equation, and all of that mess. So you're going to need a few more days on this.